Azad Jammu and Kashmir Regularization of Nautor and Grant of Khalsa Land, Amendment, Act, 2021. Definitions. Average market price means price of Khalsa land assessed by collector of the district for a particular locality in a revenue village on the basis of transactions of sale and purchase of land in that particular locality taken place during a period of 3 years calculated on December 31st every year. Commercial land means Khalsa land which has potential for being utilized for commercial purposes, or lands under shops, commercial buildings, or buildings used for industrial purposes including lands situated within bazaars or commercial areas and townships. Collector means any person appointed under this act to exercise or perform all or any of the powers or functions of a collector under this act. Revenue officer means the revenue officer of the Revenue Department of the Azad government of the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Commissioner means the chief officer in charge revenue administration and includes any officer especially appointed by the government to perform all or any of the functions of a commissioner under this act. Commercial land means Khalsa land which has potential for being utilized for commercial purposes, or lands under shops, commercial buildings, or buildings used for industrial purposes including lands situated within bazaars or commercial areas and townships. Residential land means Khalsa land which is for the time being under dwellings, houses, courtyards, or backyards of such houses, or under such buildings used for residential purposes, and includes lands situated within residential areas of the townships. Khalsa land means the land recorded in the revenue record of an estate as Khalsa Sarkar or Siri Sarkar Daulat-madar or Crown land or howsoever worded which denotes that such land vests in the government, but it shall not include any land acquired by the government for the public purpose under a law relating to land acquisition for the time being in force. Village common purposes includes common grazing lands, public roads, village paths, graveyards, water springs, cattle ponds, villagers' common assembly places, or such other purposes as may, by general usage or customs, established to be common purposes of the villagers or such other purposes as may be prescribed by the government. Government land means a land purchased or acquired by the government to be utilized by the departments or autonomous bodies or authorities, as the case may be, and includes such Khalsa lands which are notified for the purposes of the government as aforesaid. Conferment of proprietary rights of sanctioned Khalsa lands. Proprietary rights of residential or commercial lands, duly sanctioned on ground rent, tezamini, or lease under the Azad Jammu and Kashmir Grant of Khalsa lands, ground rent and lease, rules, 1985, or any other government order or standing order or notification duly promulgated or issued by the government, may be granted by the collector of the district on payment of average market price of the land after clearing all arrears of rent or lease if any, provided that where shops or commercial buildings were constructed on Khalsa land sanctioned for residential purposes, the grantee or lessee shall be liable to pay rent of the land at commercial rates, for the time being in force, from the date of approval till grant of proprietary rights. Grant of proprietary rights of illegal houses, shops, and structures. 1. Proprietary rights of residential or commercial lands under illegal occupation may be granted up to 2 canals by the collector of the district to the occupants who have constructed houses, shops, commercial buildings, or other structures thereon, before commencement of the criminal law, 5th Amendment, Act, 2020, on payment of average market price. Before making the grant, an additional amount at a rate of 5% of the market price shall also be recovered on account of illegal and unauthorized use of the land, provided that any area in excess of 2 canals may be transferred to the occupant on payment of market price and surcharge at a rate of 10% of the market price for illegal occupation. 2. Any house, shop, or other structure constructed on forest land or in violation of laws relating to highways shall not be regularized. 3. The collector of the district shall ensure transparent process for grant of propriety rights to the occupant within a maximum period of 1 month from the date of application of the occupant. Where the collector is satisfied that the occupant is not willing to acquire propriety rights of land under his possession, he shall eject the occupant and resume the land without any cost or compensation of any improvement. Ejectment and recovery of penal rent from illegal occupants. 1. A legal occupant of Khalsa land not under residential house or shop or other structure shall be liable to summary ejectment. Every such illegal occupant shall also be liable to pay penal rent to the government at a rate of 1,000 rupees per canal per year for whole period of illegal occupation under the orders of Tahsildar of the area concerned. 2. All cases of illegal occupation of Khalsa land shall be reported by the field staff to the revenue officer of the circle, who shall forward the same to the Tahsildar for further orders under this section. 3. Penal rent directed to be paid under this section, if not paid within the period specified in the order, shall be recovered as an arrears of land revenue under the Land Revenue Act, 1967, Act 17 of 1967, as in force in Azad Jammu and Kashmir. Cancellation of grants of lands obtained by illegal means. 1. Notwithstanding anything contained in the ordinance or in any other law for the time being in force, when it is proved that any grant of Khalsa land on ground rent, tezamini, lease or proprietary rights was obtained on the basis of fraud, false information, misrepresentation of fact, cheating or through other illegal means, Commissioner of the Division, after giving an opportunity of being heard to the lessee, or as the case may be the grantee, may cancel the grant or allotment and resume possession of the land along with all structures thereon free of cost, encumbrance or compensation. 2. All cases of cancellation of allotments or revocation of grants of Khalsa lands after final decision by the Commissioner shall be reported to the Board of Revenue. Prevention of encroachment upon Khalsa land. 1. All Khalsa lands are hereby preserved safe for future public purposes and protected from illegal occupation and unauthorized use thereof. 2. Where a person encroached upon any Khalsa land by illegal means, a revenue officer not below the rank of Tahsildar shall immediately on receipt of information summarily eject such person and resume possession of such land without any cost or compensation. The person so ejected shall also be liable to a fine which may extend to 50,000 rupees. 3. When a person, ejected under the preceding subsection, reoccupies the said land or a part thereof or any other Khalsa land, a revenue officer not below the rank of Tahsildar shall immediately on receipt of information summarily eject such person from such land and may also impose a fine which may extend to 200,000 rupees. For fines imposed under this section, if not paid within the period specified by the ejecting officer, shall be recovered as an arrears of land revenue under the Land Revenue Act, 1967, Act 17 of 1967, as in force in Azad Jammu and Kashmir. Offenses and penalties. 1. Any person who contravenes provisions of subsection 1 of Section 8b, or disobeys any direction or order made under this ordinance, or reoccupies any Khalsa land after being ejected under subsection 3 of Section 8b, or cuts down or removes trees from any such land or damages any such land by mischievous act, shall be liable to the imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 3 years, or with fine, which may extend to 300,000 rupees, or with both. 2. No action shall be taken under this section where criminal proceeding has already been initiated or pending under the criminal law. Fifth Amendment, Act 2020. 3. All offenses under this section shall be cognizable, non-bailable, and triable by a court of magistrate of first class under the provisions of Code of Criminal Procedure, 1898, Act V of 1898, as enforced in Azad Jammu and Kashmir. For no court shall take cognizance of any offense under this section, unless a written complaint is made by an officer not below the rank of Tahsildar.